Next up, we have E-Labyrinth from the Rolling Sky soundtrack. Once again, everybody, this is a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I'm a professionally trained musician, a composer, and my objective here is to explain things in a way so that you don't have to be one to understand what is happening here, musically. So, if you like the sound of that, make sure you're following the channel, subscribe to the channel, whatever term you want to use. Like the video, share the video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, become a member. Once again, everybody, if we reach 10,000 before Christmas, artists I want to collaborate, members get early access, how to request songs if you're not on the stream. I have a spiel for this, a bunch of other things at the end of the video, so stick around for that. Disclaimers showing on your screen right now. I just realized I didn't do the map thing, so yeah, pause the video if you want to if you want to read them in full. Otherwise, let's do this. E-Labyrinth. Let's go. 6 seconds in, and I already love it. Yeah, next it's a bit late for that. So, we start with 3 components. One, we have, of course, the drums giving us that initial beat. What game is this from? Rolling Sky. One of the mobile games, like you bounce as the ball. I've never played this. I've never played any games. So, so yes, we start with the drums giving us that initial beat, like just hitting that introductory first hit. We have a synth holding down a chord in the background, and then we have this other synth, more chimey, a little bit higher, giving us our initial motif. Motif, of course, being the smallest version of your musical idea, the seed, the essence from which everything else comes from. And in this case, we do a couple of repetition and then immediately engage in 2 techniques. Number 1 is sequencing, and the second one is inversion. So, these 2 are ways that you can develop your material in music. Sequencing is when you take a musical idea and you repeat it just from a different starting point. And people who autoclaim are eligible for Instaban. I'm gonna have to think that through. We're gonna discuss that after the stream. So sequencing, this can be done in 2 main ways. One being diatonic, and the other one being chromatic. So what do these 2 mean, right? So let's say, we might make them, why is the background black? Because I finally figured out dark mode. So, let's say we are in the key of C major, right? Oh. Which is all the white keys in the keyboard. Everything then that we play within C major is going to be diatonic. If we play anything outside of these, so including these, the black keys, it would be chromatic. We would be borrowing from the chromatic scale into this. So if we do sequencing, we can do it 2 ways. Diatonic means that we're repeating the same shape of the melody that we're doing, just keeping it within this scale. So the shape stays the same, the distance covered is not going to be the exact same. Chromatic means that we are covering the absolute. We're doing absolute. So that means the distance cover is going to be the exact same. So let's say we have simple motif, right? We have that. If we're going to do this diatonically, that means we're going to repeat this little motif from somewhere else that is not C, not this initial C, and we're going to just play it within the key of C major. So if we were to do this and then do this from E again, we would have it that way. And then I had to resolve that cadence. But then if we were to do it chromatically, we would have to cover the same distance each time. So if we were to do the same thing, just instead of doing this diatonically, we do this chromatically, we would have. Which sounds very, very different, but the distance covered between the notes would be the exact same. So that is sequencing, and sequencing can be done pretty much in whatever combinations you want. And then we have the concept of inversion. Inversion is when you take something in music and you flip it upside down. So for example, if we were to take this, and let's add 1 more note, right? Let's say we have that. If we were to invert it, then we would be playing it upside down. Same distance played, same things, just done that way. So we're having those 2 being done at the same time. So if we were to have, let's say the phrase, like inversion with sequencing, that's how this would sound. And in this case, of course, we're doing this with the motif right now, so let's see where this goes. I found with the app. I am not apologizing. Alright, went through the drums. Okay, so we have a brief moment here. We have the melodies being played on multiple layers, and now we bring in our drum beat full on, with now the motif being played on the bass. Part of our bass line is the motif. This is fairly rare. This is fairly rare to have the bass actually doing the motif. But we have now the bass doing a partial version of the motif. Let's see where it goes. Ooh. Okay, so there's two more things here. Number one, we are having one more synth giving us a syncopation of the chords that are being played. So, syncopation, let me just bring the thing up, and IDK, welcome today, how you doing? Syncopation is when you are playing against the beat or against the metronome. In this case, whenever the drums are not playing, if the start of the phrase is between the drums playing, that is syncopation, which is the one synth that we are hearing above. And then, of course, now we are also having what is called a doubling. Doubling is when you have more than one instrument playing the same thing at the same time, and we're having the bass and one of the synths higher up playing the same thing at the same time. Let's see where it goes. Oh, we bring the chimey synth. Okay, so we bring now back the original version of the material. Very, very nice. And we have the full drum beat. The background synths are now giving us a more defined rhythm. And the bass is still doing something similar. Let me hear a bit more. Yeah, the bass is now full on just doing a bass line. There are some times when it's chopping off a little bit, like it's muting itself a little bit, but overall now the motif is bounced back up into the chime. Let me go back a couple of seconds. I want to hear this again. Doubling again. We have another at the top. Nice. And off the ramp we go. Off the ramp, of course, being a colloquial term that I use. Colloquial. Colloquial, by that I mean there's no official academic definition for this, or at least I'm choosing not to use it for the sake of simplicity. And in this case, off the ramp is what I call a specific type of transition. It can be as short as a couple of beats, it can be as long as an entire section, and the purpose of it is to make your listener feel suspended up in the air at the mercy of inertia, waiting to see where you land, kind of like going off a ramp. How do you do that? Remove the drums. Maybe the bass as well. You can remove more layers. Like sometimes you can leave it up to just one layer. Up to you. But the whole idea is at least remove the drums. Maybe the bass as well. And now we're having this. We are visiting the motif again. Let me go back a second or two. Variation of the motif. Okay, so now we have two versions of the motif being played at the same time. We are having what I think used to be the motif, the version of the motif that the bass did, a little bit more extended, layered on top of the original version of the motif. The original is a little bit further back in the mix, and the new one is now taking the front step. Let's see where it goes. Alright. Alright, we bring back the bass. Nice. That would be exclamation point points, by the way. So yeah, now we bring back the bass line to just do the same bass line that we had before. Let's see where it goes. All right. Oh, and now you heard that we engaged in a little bit, not really rhythmic displacement, but we just ended up sequencing the motif a couple of times up a couple of octaves, just so that we could land this beat. Let me hear it again. It's really good. No, a bit further. That's really well built, yeah. All right, there we go. We bring now this version of the motif. Which this version of the motif, I really like it because it uses a mix of elongation and a little bit of sequencing. So elongation, another way that you can develop your material, elongation, is when you slow down one or more notes, right? So let's say we have this motif, right? Something you can do is just elongate one of the notes, which means you make one of the notes longer. So instead of going, you could go. And that completely changes, or you can also engage in what is called repeated notes, where you just, well, repeat the notes. Still roughly the same idea. We elongate the space that it takes for the notes to play, but now, of course, and you can just make however many combinations, still stemming from that same root, from that same seed. This is really good. Let's see where it goes. Off the ramp, and new version of the motif. Oh, I like this one. So now we're doing a partial sequence with these. So we're having the same start from the same start of the motif, and we're just changing the last note each time around. So it gives us this really cool sense of progression, even though we have a moment of stability, because now we end up with two different melodies pretty much, because while we have the regular motif being played down, we have on top a melody that is slowly descending. And we could do this with the example that we've been doing, right? So yeah, it's a really, really cool thing to have this over here. This is really, really cool. I can see why people enjoy this one a lot. This is very well done. Like, this is exploring the material really well. Because so far, we've been pretty much only doing the motif. Like, the motif has constantly been kept in the spotlight. The motif has been constantly being developed, and it's just at the center of everything, constantly. This is how you're supposed to treat your motifs. And you can see how well the motif ends up rewarding the composer by allowing the music to become this good. There are around 150. Nice. So yeah, let's see where this goes. It's got about 30 seconds left. Game, Rolling Sky. Oh, and we have some octave displacement. We have some octave displacement with a little bit of inversion. So, octave displacement being another way that you can develop your material, right? Octave displacement. Now, octave displacement is when you displace which octave something happens in. So, as I mentioned before, right? Like, we have scales. And the scale of C major is going to be 7 notes plus octave. The reason why it's called an octave is that your scales are usually going to be 7 notes, and when you reach the 8th note, you're going to repeat whatever note you had. So, we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B. This is going to be the 7 notes of C major, and then the octave would be C again. So, let me add a couple of octaves of this. So the way octave displacement works is that you are going to take let's take the same melody we had, right? So C, D, E, G. So we have this lovely melody. And we want to engage in octave displacement for it. So all we need to do is we need to play the same order of notes, but we can change which octave this happens in. Because once again, between C and C, we have 1 octave. Between C and C, we have 1 octave. Between C and C, we have another octave. And the higher your octaves go, the higher the sound is going to go. The lower your octaves, the lower it's going to go. And when it comes to instruments, your instrument is going to have as many octaves as the range of the instrument allows. So, let's say we engage in octave displacement by doing, let's say, the most obvious one would be C, D, E, and then we just change which octave G happens, right? So the original, and then the octave displacement. But we can also engage in so many others. Like, we can change which we can change like D, C, D, E, and back to G, which would end up having, we go C, the original octave, we go up an octave for D and E, and then we go back to E, to the G. So we would have something like this. which is already giving it a very different sense. And on top of that, like in this case, we're also engaging in inversion on top of that. So we are taking that thing, so we're taking, and then we're doing the inversion an octave higher, which, you know, is also partly sequencing, that kind of thing. How is octave displacement different from modulation? Modulation is when you completely change which chords you're using in general. So in this case, this is the key of C major. If we were to change from C major to any other key, then it becomes modulation. However, in this case, we're just changing within the key of C major. So we are still within C major, therefore we're not modulating. That's the main difference. Modulation would be if we were to take the melody from C major to D major. For example, here's C major. Oh, here is D major. Right, so it's a very, very different feel. It already has everything completely different, and that would be non-diatonic. Right now we've been doing everything diatonically, and you can do things chromatically, which many times result in modulation. But that is that's a different story, yeah? So yeah, let's see where this goes. There we go. We bring the bass line again with octave displacement. Let's see. Alright, how are you gonna end this? Alright, off the ramp, and we bring everything back to the octave high above. We do one more run of the melody, we do one more hit, and I like how the bass at the very end had that same tail and that the rest of the ensemble had. And it ends just like that. There you go. There you go. That was E-Labyrinth from Rolling Sky. That was nice. That was very well made, and sounds surprisingly generic for house music because it's game music. But this is one of the early songs, so might sound generic now, might not be generic back then. So, you know, sometimes history does that kind of thing. So yeah, there you go. E-Labyrinth from the Rolling Sky soundtrack. Once again, everybody, this has been a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I'm a professionally trained musician, a composer, and my objective here has been to explain things in a way so that you don't have to be one to understand what's happened here musically. So, if you're watching this on the YouTube video archive thing, thank you for watching. Make sure you're following the channel, subscribe to the channel, whatever term you want to use. Like the video, share the video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, become a member. Once again, everybody, if we somehow hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube before Christmas of 2025, which not too likely, but still possible, if it somehow happens, on top of doing the fan fiction audiobook thing, I will also play a video game of the choice of the community, whatever y'all want. Whatever y'all want, I'll just play it on stream. We'll make a couple of streams of that, right? This has to be achieved through legitimate and honest means only. No account duping, no botting, no buying followers, no alt accounting, no rat behaviors like that. Go share the videos, the streams with your friends, with your families friends, with your friends' families. Those are two very distinct concepts, by the way. With your online and offline communities, go share these videos far and wide. Also use the hype function on YouTube. We have a group on the Discord that coordinates for that, so link down below. Coordinate with them. Also do the things, right? All the things. Artists on YouTube or otherwise. Open invitation for collaborations. If you're an artist and you want any of my musical skills, whether it is my guitars, Mongolian throat singing, you know, the good old kind of thing, regular singing, voice acting, whatever it is, reach out, let me know, let's make it work. And if you're in the audience and you know somebody who could benefit from any of my skills, just let them know. Please do not harass anyone, please do not spam anyone, be cool about things, don't be a rat. Members get early access to the content. I schedule the videos for the week on Saturdays, and if you're a paid member or paid subscriber, you get access to the videos when I schedule them, at least for the LFAs. So become a member today. If you want to listen to this without me interrupting every 3.5 seconds, I will be linking in the description down below. If you want to request a song and you are not on the live stream, check the pinned comment on the main video, on the LFA video. It has the instructions on what to do, how to request a song, and if you want to catch the streams when they happen live, we aim for Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Central European Time. If you are not in Europe, do not worry. We have the full up-to-date streaming schedule showing in your local time zone in both Discord and Twitch. Both are linked down below. So if you live in Hazleton and you're like, yeah, but what time is 6 p.m. in Hungary? I don't live there. Do not worry. Just go to Discord or Twitch. Both are linked down below, and it has, it's going to show the stream schedule in your local time zone. And follow the gaming channel. I have a gaming channel because, of course, I have a gaming channel. I'm on YouTube. What else could I possibly have? Games are Basterd. That's where I put the gaming after show recordings when they happen. Link down below. Or just search on YouTube. Same username as James R. Basterd. Just swap the J for a G and you got it. And yeah, there you go. E-Labyrinth, Rolling Sky. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. That was fun. But yeah, let's move on.